There is a big difference between not wanting something to be true and something being able to be true, or something actually being true, or something that poses a real and substantial threat to something that you love. I don't have to explain my bona fides to anyone as far as my belief, my thoughts, my liberty sensibilities. I don't have to explain this to anybody. I've told you my thoughts and my feelings regarding Trump, and I've said it repeatedly, much to the chagrin and the problems that I have had to deal with from everyone for years. So I'm not afraid of that. That doesn't bother me in the least. But I want you to understand something which is very, very, very critical. And this is something which is so monumentally important. I can only say it as such. You and I can talk about whether President Trump can be constitutionally removed from office under Article 3 of the 14th Amendment, which we will go over. You and I can discuss it. We can say that's not what the drafters intended. It was clearly about the Civil War. This is ridiculous. This is nonsense. What are you talking about? We can do this all day long. We can have wonderful thoughts, wonderful, impassioned requirements. I heard somebody say he wasn't convicted of anything. There's no requirement that Trump has to be convicted of anything. He was a commentator, able to say whatever you want, and that's the beauty of the First Amendment, who said, well, Trump wasn't convicted. You don't have to be convicted. Doesn't say that. This is a political thing, just like impeachment. Article 14, there's no requirement of a conviction. It helps. But they just said that because in their mind, that would make things sort of make sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? That would make things make sense. We must always look. We must always look. We must always look. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial member of any state to support the Constitution of the United States. Interesting. Stop right there. What if you were convicted of January 6th suppression, obstruction, insurrection, whatever you want to call it? You are convicted. But you've never run for office. You've never taken an oath. You've never taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States. Or, so you might have taken an oath. Sometimes, I remember one time hearing somebody, I went to one of these like lunches, these Sertoma Club or something. And they were electing officers and they were pledging fealty to the Constitution. Okay. In some Ponderosa steakhouse off of Route 5. Okay. I don't think that would count either. So it's very interesting. If you read this, expressio unis est exclusio alterius. The expression of one is the exclusion of another. Strict construction. So Trump had, he made an oath. Okay. I continue. So someone who has made the oath, served in these positions, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. That's a pretty tough order. Getting a new, constitutional amendment is a little bit easier. Okay, you got that? Shall have engaged. So rule number one, you don't have to be convicted. You don't have to be convicted. Let me just say this to you. Shall have engaged. I don't think anybody's ever read this. It's been done a few times. I think it was in New Mexico or some. I think there was some. I was reading. I think it was New Mexico. There were some folks running who. They say it's self executing. And by the way, a number of folks from the Federalist Society, a number of folks, and this is pretty, quote, conservative, they agree with this 100%. So I'm just saying, know what you're up against. But there's one thing that's very interesting about Section 4. And it says later on, the validity of the debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions, blah, 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 blah. Let me read this to you, because blah, blah, blah doesn't help anybody. The validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of persons and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Some are using Section 4 as a limiting section, which means clearly, Section 3 deals with the Civil War. And if it's not in the Civil War, that's it. Good luck with that. That is not going to work. There were two cases, just so that you know this. That's not it. There were two cases that were interesting. One was, I believe, just so that I speak correctly. By the way, courts have also held that this does not in any way violate or conflict with First Amendment. But there was one individual, I believe it was new. Please forgive me, but I want to get this right. And I believe in getting things right. The disqualification cause. Just talk amongst yourselves. Last September, 3 New Mexico residents represented by an organization won the first case in more than 150 years removing an elected official from office based on participation in an insurrection. The court ruled that then New Mexico County Commissioner Couy Griffin had violated Section 3 of the 14th Amendment by recruiting men for battle to join Trump's, quote, wild effort to overturn the election January 6th, normalized violence, and breached police barriers. Griffin's removal marked the first case at the federal or state level concluding that what occurred January 6th was an insurrection. In Griffin's case, the court found that disqualifying officials under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment does not conflict with the First Amendment. It also rebuffed attempts by Griffin to conflate January 6th with Black Lives Matter. Now, I do not believe in any way whatsoever. Let me be very, very clear. You probably as well, do not believe that Donald Trump ever encouraged insurrection or rebellion. What he was encouraging was exercising your right to object, to simply object to your belief that the election was either improper or not counted right, which is your absolute right, which Stacey Abrams did it and Hillary Clinton and all that stuff. I say that, you say that. If Trump did anything wrong, he did not understand how people act. He did not understand how sometimes these people are crazy. He did not understand that when you say things like, do what you think is right, you tell somebody with a Gadsden flag and somebody who's going to live free or die, you tell him that and good luck. Okay? That's what Trump didn't understand. Trump didn't get that. Trump did not understand that. Trump doesn't understand a lot of things. Trump never understood how vicious these people were. He never understood anything of that. He never saw anything. He never knew this. That's why when he didn't finish off Hillary, he didn't get it because he was being a nice guy. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand how things work. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? That's Trump's error. But in no way did Trump ever he never meant to incite or in any way aid, abet, counsel, procure, or hire anyone to commit any offense against the country, the Constitution, ever. Now, you know this, and I know this. Do we understand this? Do we understand this? There's no way that Trump ever intended to commit espionage. There's no way that Trump ever intended, and you could argue all day long. So when you hear these wonderful dissertations, these wonderful excoriations against liberal judges and liberal commentators and liberal media, and you don't understand, you're crazy, this is wrong. This is not at all constitutional. But listen to me and listen carefully. Nothing ever stopped bad people from doing anything because it was unconstitutional. What they're doing to Julian Assange is unconstitutional. It wouldn't be in this country. He is a journalist under Bartnicki. Absolutely. Every time that somebody had a case reversed, every time that somebody was released from prison after 50 years, every time that somebody had a major incident reversed, something unconstitutional occurred. And nothing that you said or anybody said or his lawyer said, nothing, it doesn't matter. So let me just try to tell you something. And this is the most important thing. Saying it, wishing it, doesn't make it so. I can't say this enough. I want you to understand realism. I understand the power and the glory and the fun that is involved in saying things on various podcasting and YouTube, whatever fora. I appreciate that. And I know sometimes people say, this is great, and you can't do this. And your numbers and everything goes through the roof if you say this. But you're misleading people if you're saying things that aren't true. I'm not going to lie to you. If they want to disqualify him, if some Secretary of State in some state says, I think it's very clear that he committed an insurrection, and files briefs, or somebody files a lawsuit, as in the case of wherever the hell I said, New Mexico, wherever it was. You know, and I know. Remember, what was her name? That real, you never saw her again after 2001. The Florida Secretary of State, Catherine or something on there, Harris, I think it was. Remember that? They went crazy. She just disappeared. She just took off. She said, "I'm the hell with this. You got that? I'm done." Is there anyone here who thinks that maybe it's premature because you got to get the timing right? But is there anyone here? Listen to me carefully. Stop for 1 second. Is there anyone here who doesn't think for a moment that there are reams and filings ready to go, already collated, already drafted, already reviewed, already signed, already ready to go? Is there anyone here who doesn't think for a moment that this is ready to go the moment that Trump either gets to that tipping point where they say, we got to do this? Anybody? And do you think there is not the longest coterie, the longest battalion, biggest cadre of people available? Do you have any doubt at all that you are going to see the largest group of people ready to unleash, whatever you want to call it? Do you have any doubt? And do you have any doubt that if there is a singular movement, if let's say the Secretary of State for California or New York or the big Super Tuesday, Ohio, let's just assume that would enough states, enough secretaries of state to remove Trump from the ballot, thus making it mathematically impossible for him to win. Do you think that will be upheld? Yes. So you can say all you want. I know you're right. I know I'm right. I think this is ridiculous. I think what he said this was not the intention of, who the hell am I? Who are you? Who is anyone from Dershowitz to Lawrence Tribe, God forbid, to Jonathan Turley, to Andy McCarthy, name it. Who are you? Good for you. Good. Oh, you agree with it? Terrific. You don't agree with it? Terrific. Doesn't matter. This is a new ball game. This is what I'm trying to tell people. I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not here every day telling you we're winning. Sometimes we're winning, sometimes we're not. I'm telling you the truth. This is great. If you went to a doctor, and your doctor said to you, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you have stage 4 mesothelioma, you've got some neoplasm in your lung, you have a stage 4 cancer, which is usually the result of smoking or working in coal mines or some type of an environmental factor. And you say, that's impossible. I've never worked in a coal mine. I don't smoke. I never get near this. That's impossible. This is nuts. This is crazy. There's no way. You don't understand. It doesn't. Really? You don't understand. I don't understand. No, this can't be. This can't be? What do you mean this can't be? Life is not like this. So let me ask you the question. Let me ask you this question. You ready? Okay. Do you have the legal firepower? Do you have the right You've got the Federalist folks saying, yep, he can be, check this out, Federalist, they don't like Trump. Remember, I'm telling you, Trump's biggest enemies are not from the left, but from the right. I don't know how to tell you this. I don't know how to explain this to you, but I try. I try. I want you to understand this, okay? I want you to understand this. This is something which is so, it's an important object lesson for you. I want you to grasp this. I want you to really understand this. Life is not fair. This has nothing to do with fair. This is going to be a bloodbath. And they are ready. There is some office, some warehouse, some command room, some war room that has every angle fixed. There are lawyers ready to file an emoluments case again. There are lawyers ready to act as special prosecutors. You know, all of these prosecutors in all of these cases have teams of special, learned, wise men and women in the working free, or maybe maybe sometimes you might have special lawyers selected to help out. They are ready to go. There is also the word that is sent out. You be the judge who dares to go against us, and we're not sure what will happen. Remember what happened to the Supreme Court years ago. Can you imagine going to Rehnquist's house? If you were hanging around Scalia's home, nobody knew where Scalia's home. And then you see, this is their house. This is where they live. This is the Dobbs case. Listen to me. Listen to what I'm telling you. And I've got so many dear friends whom I love and respect within our kind of podcasting, community. And they talk such stuff that has nothing to do with reality. Nothing. And up to and including, well, Trump hasn't been convicted. You don't have to be convicted. Let me explain something to you. Try this one out. Imagine if the Secretary of State for California, someplace big, irrespective of whether they're Democrats or not, were to say, I'm going to exclude Barack Hussein Obama, because I think it is a self-executing rule that he did not qualify under Article 2 of the Constitution because he is not a natural born citizen. I believe the evidence is clearly here. Let's assume this. That there is a reasonable doubt, a significant doubt, or whatever, that he is a natural born United States citizen. I'm going to, just like somebody says, I believe, even though there's been no formal adjudication, that President Trump engaged in giving aid and comfort, insurrection, blah, 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 blah. You got it? Okay. And by the way, in the case of Trump, he would have had to have made the oath once, gotten in, and then whatever. Because remember, the real question is, can somebody who was convicted before ever making, let me read this again to you. Remember, always do this. Never feel like sometimes people feel like they're being persnickety, or they're being, no. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies. Given aid or comfort. Come on, you people. You can do it. This is Trump. Come on, do the right thing. Come on, Mike. Whatever. Now, you and I know that's crazy. Is it? You're talking to somebody who has seen crazy people. I've seen people who somebody goes and commits a crime. Somebody says, hey, listen, you want to go steal let's go to the bodega and steal something. Okay. And some nut next to us pulls out a gun and shoots the clerk. I'm charged with felony murder. I'm looking at the death penalty. Say, wait a minute, what? What? Perfectly legal. Wait a minute, that's not what I intended to do. The way it goes, you intended to go. I intended for it to be a crime. See, I want to ask these people, where have they been? Especially legal experts, legal scholars. Where have you been? Now you know why I don't like the death penalty, because you don't. This is where we live. That's everything that we're talking about right now is subject to repeal or appeal or correction or reinstatement, not life. How do I tell people this? How do I tell you about what's going on here? We are in a war. This is a war. And what we do is we're playing namby-pamby with these people who want nothing but they mean business. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They mean business. There's nothing I've never seen anything like this. And yet people that I know, there's these I don't know. I don't know where they live. They think they're like such babies. I saw something from Vic Ramaswamy. What is with this guy that everybody thinks is so great? He's a smart guy. He's one of the few people I probably would like. If I just knew if he was a neighbor or something, I'd probably like him. He is without a doubt smart, but he's saying nothing. Nothing that you and I or anybody else get. He's saying nothing. Nothing. I don't think a woman, a man, a biological man should walk around the locker room of a swimming pool in front of girls. What? Brilliant to say, excuse me, what? What did you say? That's brilliant. That's brilliant? You think that's brilliant? What are you talking about? What are people saying? Why is this so brilliant? I don't understand that. And they're thinking, I'm thinking, am I missing something? Our country is falling apart. Joe Biden goes to Hawaii. Fine, how are you? Joe Biden goes and he says, hey, I hope you got those boots. This is hot here. His indifference. People are actually using this. They're actually using this as some form of a statement of his ineptitude, because he made the statement, it's really hot here. I don't know where I am anymore. I really don't know where I am. I don't know what country I'm in. I really don't know. I'm thinking to myself, are these people who, honest to God, do they really think, and I mean it, do they really think that somehow this is going to mean something? The world we are teetering on things. Let me also say something, and nobody wants me to say this, but I'm going to say it. There is no GOP. There is no GOP. You can talk about this all you want. You can talk about this. You can say this is the greatest. No. There's not. There's not. I mean, you can whatever talk about this. And we're very good. We are so good at mocking. Interestingly enough, the Republicans, of which I am not, are very good at mocking people. They've got the best comments and the best, and it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Somebody needs to get the word out. Somebody says, we have now representing this group called the, and you can forget the Federalist Society, you can forget the Heritage, I don't know who these people are. You've got to tell people, and we need somebody, with all due respect, we love him and he's great. Thank God Dershowitz is doing it. There are some people out there, he is the most, and has been, the most vocal. And this is something to be said. He is one of the few, there were lawyers in the old days like Bill Kunstler. There was this guy, Tony Serra, I believe. People who represent the worst of the worst. They were the trial warriors. They represent not the fun stuff. The best lawyers sometimes I've ever seen, trial lawyers, were public defenders, public aid, people who represent death penalty cases. They're the best. But they don't get paid anything, but they are the best. Oh, you see these people, I always see these lawyers, so-and-so is going from Latham to Gibson Dunn, and then the M&A, they're moving a lateral move to Sullivan Cromwell. Ooh. And they're like the biggest law firms. You let this guy walk into some Bartow, Florida circuit court on some pro bono death penalty case. Let's see what he does. You ain't seen good like the real warriors, the street lawyers, the guys who walk in there and slog it out day in and day out, and they have seen it all. And what makes them different is they've got a heart. They've got this thing within the law, mind you, but they have this absolute heart, and they recognize what's good or bad. Then you have people who are like Lawrence Tribe, sell out, absolute, will say whatever you have to say. And he's very popular. And what he's saying is not illegal. It's not illegal. But let me tell you something. I have seen it. There's nothing more like this. Two things that get people. Well, there's three, but I don't want to say it in a family law. Two things. This and this. And I don't mean money. I mean this. This. Some people go nuts. You ever seen somebody who says, hi guys, I got my YouTube channel. Next thing you know, they hit 100,000. They got their plaque. Hey, we're great. Thanks, everybody. Come on, you can do it. And they say, what happened to you? Come on, guys. And they'll get some new graphics, or they'll get somebody. And it's like, wow. They went from real, and they kind of lose themselves a little bit. They were kind of interesting at first when they were just themselves. Well, Alan Dershowitz has been doing this stuff forever, and you can say what he wants, and he doesn't give a damn what you think. You don't like what he says about Israel? Tough. You don't like what he says about Trump? Tough. I love that. I respect that. That is it. And I have wanted to tell you from the beginning, and this isn't fun, I will never tell you something that I think you're going to like, but I don't believe, or that I know is not true. You can say some stuff. Come on, we're going to do it. Come on, Trump is made of different stuff. You don't understand something. And I've said that to an extent. You don't understand that. I mean, he's great. He's going to win. He's great because he's right. He's right and they're wrong, and he's good. He's good. Don't you understand that? He's good. What the hell are you talking about? He's good, damn it. He's good. My God. And when Trump's made stupid mistakes, absolutely. But this one, If you think we're not in trouble with this one, oh no, this is very serious. Because the court's got to say, no, I think it says it says right here. Well, let's look at it again. Always look at your thing. Section 3, 14th Amendment. Shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion. I think he engaged. Oh, there's no need for an adjudication. There's no need for an adjudication. None. There's no need. Nope. He engaged. There he was. Do the right thing. Yeah. The one that I'll never forget is that, and I'll never forget why they have her. I saw her the other day because she's just so desperate for some kind of. Don Jr.'s, his girlfriend, fiance. Remember she was dancing the day of January 6th. I'm thinking, this doesn't look good. They were like watching, kind of laughing. Did you see this? Get her out of there. Get her. Doesn't get it. They don't get it. They thought this was like trolling or something. They don't get it. Okay, now, second thing I want to bring to your attention. Michael Jackson. Okay. This is going to be very tough for you because you're a rational person and it is not normal that you don't have in your life very, very simple, I don't say simple, but obvious things of right or wrong, and that's it. Okay? Okay. This is tough, but I'm going to try my best to explain it. I'm going to see if I can explain this to you. Michael Jackson. By the way, let me just say something. This is a very simple. This is a completely free sign up to this is my latest. Oops. This is my latest. What am I trying to say? My latest newsletter. It's a newsletter. It's to call it a newsletter. It's not a newsletter. I don't even know what a newsletter. A newsletter sounds boring. It's not boring. It's different. It's kind of like a pastiche, a myriad, kind of a rococo thing that gives you just things to think about. And I like people give me things to think about. So let me tell you about that one. All right. Michael Jackson, one of the biggest problems, back up, that we have in law is this thing called the statute of limitations. Okay. Certain things must be brought within a certain amount of time, or else you are forever barred from bringing them again. Okay. Some things don't have statutes. Murder, maybe certain child rape or something, but it depends upon your jurisdiction. But murder's that's why cold case. This thing's 50 years old. They're finding a cold case. Okay. And while it makes sense, while it's good, if there was a law tomorrow that said for 6 months, anything that anybody ever did against you ever is fair game for you to bring a lawsuit, there will be a run to the courthouse and they will say, who's available? What school did you go to? St. Bonaventure? Good. What year did you graduate? 53. Good. He touched you. Who? That father. Who? You know. Oh, yeah. Good. You too? Yes. Okay. Boom. Now, does that happen? You betcha. Are there people, hundreds of thousands, who knows over the course, who have been, in fact, abused and had their case barred by the statute of limitations? Yes. There's a balance here. There are kids who have been hurt, kids who have been, but then there are other times where people said, that's okay. And then you're this school, you're this diocese, and you say, what? And you got hit with 100, and you get one lawyer, one law firm, nothing wrong with this, who says, hi, we're here, we're your sexual abuse. Were you in 9/11? Were you downtown? Come to me. Did you have asbestos? Come to me. And all of a sudden you got did you ever use Johnson & Johnson? Yeah, man. Wow. And you get hit with, geez, then they go into bankruptcy. Then you got to have The case is tried in bankruptcy court, PI. I mean, it's just, wow. That's a reality. That doesn't mean it's not fair. That doesn't mean everybody's a liar. That's reality. That is reality. I'm telling you the truth, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. It's the truth. I'm telling you. It's an absolute fact. Now, here's the thing, which is the most important part. Sometimes there are aspects of it which are good, some are bad. Michael Jackson, as you know, we will never get to the truth of that. Never. And the question that I have more than anything else, number one question, in those cases involving sleepovers, where were those parents? Now, that doesn't in any way vitiate, deconstruct anything. Understand this? Understand this? By the way, statutes of limitation for different things. If it's a misdemeanor, if it's a felony, if it is it negligence, is it professional negligence, is it a contract case? It depends. Everything depends. Let me go back to this. Where were those parents? I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen good, and I want you to just think about this. There is an overarching concern on the part of the most powerful people on the planet to get you away from this idea called child sexual predation. Okay? I want you to understand that. I want you to understand it. They are working double time. And the reason is, whether it's Sound of Freedom, whether it's, I'm trying to think of others, Hollywood, since it started, has been the rat's nest of perverts, freaks, pederasts, degenerates. You have no earthly idea how it has been and still is. Do you know, have you ever heard of this the latest thing, which is not really talked about openly? It's kind of suspected, but it's an open secret. And it's the oldest, well, it's old now, but I'm surprised that people don't understand this. There's a thing called yachting, and yachting is a wonderful term. You get in a boat, you're a famous guy, you're rich, you're Silicon Valley, you're a crown prince. There are more billionaires. You don't have to be a billionaire to have a lot of money. You can be close to it and still live it. And you get together and you get on your boat and you get on a yacht and you go out in the middle of nowhere and you're kind of out there in no man's land. And somebody says, hey, guess what? So-and-so, a B-lister, maybe somebody whose name you might know. You know how sometimes people would have, remember years ago, Paris Hilton would show up at your, and I'm not intimating Paris Hilton, but she would show up to your nightclub, or maybe Kim Kardashian, like $100,000. They show up. There's Kim Kardashian. Okay, boom. She's there for 5 minutes, has a drink, and leaves. Okay, you got it? Okay. But these other people, they go out in the middle of nowhere and they have a boat, have a yacht, and they'll have some B-list, or maybe somebody down in their luck, or somebody, you can't believe the number of mother and daughter teams who go there. Serious. And they're kind of recruited, and they go out there, and we're going to have so-and-so on the boat with us. Who's going to hang out with us? Really? Yeah, she's going to hang out with us. We're in the middle of nowhere. And so-and-so is going to hang out with us. And it's not written down, but the one who wants to hang out, if she plays her cards right, she could really show up with a chunk of cash. if she hangs out with the right people for the right price. This has been going on forever. It's been called yachting and yachters, and that's why whenever I see this, I would say cut that. So and so's out of the water on their yacht. So get rid of that, because they know you don't know, and also they don't care whether you know. You got to understand that people don't know. I don't care whether you don't care. They don't. What am I trying to say? They don't care whether you're aware of anything. They love to do stuff under your nose, in front of you. It's kind of who they are. Okay, you got that? Okay, good. And that's the bottom line. So this is going on. You've got people. And let me also tell you something. Have you seen the number of famous people canceling? This is a separate story. I just thought of it. Just keep in mind. Canceling concerts, tours, appearances, getting sick. Just put that aside. We'll get to that later. That's just one where just keep an eye on that. Just keep an eye on that. Okay. For the longest time, from Epstein to Michael Jackson to whatever it is, if you wanted to sell the Michael Jackson catalog, let's say, remember the Michael, let's assume, let's just be crazy. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But here's a movie I have. Let's say there's a guy named Michael, not Michael, but somebody like Michael Jackson. And there was a time when he bought the Paul McCartney collection, not the Beatles, but the Paul McCartney catalog. Okay. Let's assume in my movie, you got this famous guy who buys his catalog. And this famous guy, I know, is a complete and total perv. And I've got pictures, videos, live videos, sound, audio, HD, you name it, of this guy doing terrible things with children. But I didn't record it myself. I went to another guy, and in my story, since whacked in prison. But I go to his handlers and I say, how much? Do you have anything on this guy? Just a minute. As a matter of fact, we do. Now, I'm not saying this is a factual. This is in my movie now. This is my movie. And he goes through and goes, yeah, we have something. How much would that cost you? 10 million. It's worth it. Boom. Here you go. Next, who are you? I'm looking to cover a. I'm trying to sign a deal with the Department of Defense for a new cloud-based. Okay, good. Who do you want? Do you have anything with so-and-so? As a matter of fact, yeah, we do. How's that? Ooh, that's good. How much is this? 50 million. I'll take it. There you go. You don't see how this thing works? It's out there. There is a repository of, it's like the Library of Congress of everything you can imagine. So that's why. And it's done. Not only that, the whole business, the trafficking business. So what they do is, here is the edict. This is what the memo would look like if you could read it. Whenever somebody brings up this subject, especially dealing with a celebrity, we want you to kill it. Kill the story, kill the concept, kill the coverage. And anybody who comes up with a movie, the next movie, if you want to see a movie get killed, watch this. If you want to have a movie that says predation in Hollywood, Pervo land, forget it. You'll never see it. It will be, if it's done a la Sound of Freedom, it'll be the biggest hit anybody, and they've already got them ready to go. They're ready for them to unleash anybody who does this, because they've had damage control people for years anticipate this. But that will be the story that will, you cannot believe the tendrils. This goes back to the 20s. Before then, it's the biggest thing there is. And it's not a conspiracy theory. It's real, but they call it that. So let me just say that. I must attend to business. Let me thank you. I also say thank you for your support. You have been very kind. As you know, There are many, many things you can do to support what we do because we are on our own. And what that means very simply is this. We are just a little old us. And I always want to give you exactly the truth, period. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And don't forget, also before I forget, we make sure you also sign up. Follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors on X or Twitter. I can't say Twitter, or X rather. At Lynn's_Warriors and YouTube at Lynn's Warriors. Okay? Good. We got more stuff coming out today. Make sure you subscribe so you know what's going on. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. And whatever you do, don't forget these words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.